Hello and welcome back to my 35-week surrogacy update. Here's the bump. I've been wearing my leggings actually over bump recently because the baby was right up in my ribs, and I find having the elastic just above him kind of keeps him pushed down a little bit. So I usually don't wear anything on the bump for a couple of hours before these videos so that you don't get the legging line, but it's comfier and I'm all about the comfort at this point. Couldn't tell if that was my skin colour underwear or if it was my skin coloured skin. Right, there we go. So, getting bigger. A couple of my friends on Instagram and my flatmate reckon the bumps dropped slightly. I think it's just presenting a bit more forward. Where he was right round to the side, I'm now feeling kicks here, and I was feeling them here. So I think he's flipped over and he's round this way. So I'm kind of protruding here a little bit more. And it's much comfier because his bum on Monday was right in my ribs. I spent the entire day at an angle, which obviously is terrible for your back, but I was just in agony. I was really miserable on Monday. I'm actually just going to do some close-up bits because from the distance you can't see like all my veins and the linea nigra and stuff, so I'm going to grab the camera. My belly button piercing is, not great. This bit is just from my leggings, but this is the linea nigra. So that is getting quite dark all the way down. And then, there's all my veins. Quite impressive, no? Yeah. My boobs are also the same. Yes, you can kind of see it. What is that? Oh, it's a bit of fluff. If I get the light right. There we go. Yep. Very, very veiny boobs. And a couple of little stretch marks. But cleavage is happening. Whew. Right, where were we? So yes, that's sort of some close-ups of the belly because the veins are going a bit crazy. They do estimate that you get up to 50% more blood in your system towards the end of pregnancy. So it makes sense, it's a lot more blood, so it's more veins. I'm quite a veiny person anyway, like blood tests and blood donation and everything has always been easy peasy for me. This week on Wednesday I got to go for a tour of the birth centre, which was really, really nice. It was so much nicer than I expected. I'll pop some footage up on here because I filmed it because baby's mum really wanted to come, but unfortunately COVID restrictions. They even made an allowance for me to go in. At the moment they're not really doing tours, but being my first pregnancy and being a surrogate, it will just be really nice going in actually knowing what to expect. So you first got the assessment room. It's got like this amazing big comfy bed and some different stools and stuff. Then you walk down the corridor, they've got two birth pool rooms, one smaller than the other, and there was a lady in that one. The one that I got to see was beautiful. They've got this lovely mural on the wall. There's a really surprisingly big pool. It's almost like a jacuzzi without all the jets and stuff. And there's lights that go in the pool. They dim the lights in the room. There's a sound system, so you can have your own music playing, or they can even provide CDs. The room's got a beautiful view. It's hopefully going to be a really relaxing, chill experience. As long as everything goes according to plan, I'll give birth in that room. I'll get to recover in the same room, as long as there's no other labouring woman that needs it. And then I can be discharged fairly quickly afterwards. myself and the baby can be discharged separately because all the surrogacy birth plan and everything has been written up and it's been approved by the midwifery manager, and that's been circulated to everyone. There's no reason for me to have to stay in hospital as long as there's no medical complications. They've said that can stay in the hospital for 24 hours if they wish, but again, if there's nothing wrong with the baby, they can be discharged whenever they want as well. They'll go off to their own separate side room as soon as he's born, so that immediate sort of bonding process can happen with them as a family, and I can recover with my mum, and yeah. So in terms of the pregnancy itself this week, as I've just shown you the linea nigra, that's the hormonal line, that's got nothing to do with stretch marks or anything, that's purely the melatonin that just makes bits of your skin a little bit darker. I've also noticed, so your nipples get darker in pregnancy, but I've also got just a darker patch of skin around this one. They can be called the mask of pregnancy, which you can get on your face. I don't think I've got any on my face, but I have got a couple of spots this week, which is probably the first time in this whole pregnancy. So yeah, I've had a little bit of acne, which it must be hormonal because I've eaten so much chocolate this whole pregnancy and it's only just showing on my skin, so I think I've got pretty lucky. Also with my skin, I have noticed I'm a little bit drier than normal. I think this time of year it's been really cold. We've had that properly cold snap for like 2 weeks, which doesn't really help, but I've also got like some actual dry skin patches on my legs that are a bit red and a little bit itchy, almost a bit eczema-like, so that's definitely to do with the pregnancy. I've had a little bit of dry skin just here as well that's been a bit itchy, but I think anti-dandruff shampoo has fixed that one. So yeah, the bonuses of pregnancy are definitely starting to wane and my body is changing again, not necessarily for the better. Unfortunately this week I've also had acid reflux and indigestion, which I thought I'd been really lucky and I'd got away with it, but I laid down the night before last and I've always called them sicky burps before, so literally when you burp and like a little bit of your dinner comes back, it's disgusting, and I'd had risotto, so then that made me nauseous, which pretty much lasted the whole night. I had a terrible night's sleep, and then into the following day I was still nauseous and I didn't eat until about 2 p.m. I was quite concerned that morning sickness had come back, and I have been a little bit nauseous today as well, but it's bearable. It's nowhere near as bad as like the 7-8 week morning sickness. So yeah, it's been an interesting week. I've got some Rennies, which are really, really useful, and I'm finally actually having to reduce my portion sizes. There's not much in this world that makes me happier than a really big dinner, but I've just cut that in half and I have it 2 hours apart now, you know, it's not worth making myself feel ill. And the last thing that's been kind of negative this week is my sleep. So I'm definitely experiencing some pregnancy related insomnia. It's not necessarily the baby, I think it's more just my brain. Like, I can't switch off. So the pattern seems to be, I go to bed at like probably about 1 o'clock in the morning. It's stupid, but that's kind of the cycle I'm in. It works for me, I'm a night owl. Then I wake up at about 3 to pee, and that one's normally okay. I go back to sleep immediately, but then I wake up about 5 to pee, and for some reason I just can't seem to switch off at that point. So I kind of try and convince myself like, oh, bimodal sleeping, yeah, I've researched this, it was really common in the Victorian era, loads of people have done it, it was probably really common in caveman times too. It's perfectly normal to be awake for an hour in the middle of the night. So I kind of just try and take it in my stride, listen to an audiobook for a little while, but last night that just didn't work. It got to 7 o'clock this morning and I was still awake, so I was like, gonna go for a walk, what's the point? So I've had about 4 or 5 hours sleep, which means I'll definitely need a nap this afternoon. I'm already feeling like pretty tired, but I thought I might as well be productive, get this video done, and then I can somehow try and get my body clock back. If you watched last week's update, you'll see that it was baby shower on Zoom last weekend, which went down an absolute storm. She had a fantastic night, got very merry, had cocktails galore, slightly jealous, just a little bit. I'll be making up for it when she's got a newborn. And loads of her friends were there. They brought her stacks of gifts. There was the silhouettist who like literally cut out silhouettes of everyone, so he did a really nice one of me in the bump, which I'm definitely going to treasure it, and collage with all of her friends on it, so I'm certain that she'll get that framed, and yeah, she'll absolutely love that for years to come. And it was just a really fun night. I was so surprised that you can have that much fun on Zoom. Down on Sunday, she's going to come and stay the night with me so we can go to the midwife appointment together on Monday. They are making an allowance that she can come into the doctor's surgery. Everyone's been so helpful and flexible and just using common sense with like the whole surrogacy journey. You know, we are in a pandemic, but this is also her baby. She wants to go to these appointments. If she was carrying the child, she would be there, obviously. So I think it's really nice that the midwives in particular really seem to understand how important it is. So I'm really looking forward to seeing her. I think not seen her since November, maybe, which isn't really what we envisaged. Back in January 2020 when we met, I think we both imagined having a bit of a closer relationship. She was coming down to London all the time for work, and you know, even if we'd just met up for a lunch here and there and stuff. And obviously with the pandemic that's just not happened. So I think it would be really nice for her to just crash on the sofa and we can watch a movie together or something. She'll feel the baby kick. He's been kicking like crazy this side. It really is starting to look like an alien now. And yeah, I think just have like that strong sort of friendship as we come up to the birth. And the last sort of surrogacy related update is that they've sorted out staying down here near the birth as well, because it's my first labour. There's obviously no way of knowing when it's going to happen. Even if it wasn't my first, there's still no way of knowing, but I'm not necessarily going to notice all of those signs. I feel like I am quite in tune with my body, and I can feel that the baby's moved down. I still don't think the head's engaged. I've not got any sort of pressure down below, so the midwife's going to check that on Monday anyway. But they're going to move down like maybe a week before the due date. They're staying with my neighbour just across the hallway. She's got a spare room. And yeah, shout out to my neighbour, she's so lovely. Kept me sane during the last lockdown. We went on a few socially distanced walks and sat on her balcony a couple of times, because my flat has one of those stupid little Juliet balconies that might as well not be a balcony. And yeah, so they've sorted out, they'll be staying in her spare room, which is just really cool, because then when I do go into labour, in theory, I could just like stagger across the hallway and be like, your baby's coming. If it's the middle of the night, I'll probably ring them instead, because I don't want to disturb my neighbour, you know, if it's a school night. So yeah, it's really, really cool that they're going to be staying like just right over there, and hopefully we can sort of chill in the evenings and like have some dinner together and stuff, and yeah, just really unwind and sort of prepare for the new little life to enter the world. I think that is about all for this week. There certainly have been some challenges, and I have been miserable, I'm not gonna lie. When he was up in my ribs, that was annoying, and I love my sleep, so I'm quite looking forward to not being pregnant and to lay on my belly and to get 8 hours of sleep without needing a wee. Honestly, if I could have this baby in 2 weeks, we'll say 2 weeks, we'll give him until 37 weeks till his full term, considered actually full term. If I could give him to his parents as soon as possible, you know, I'd be quite happy to at this point. I'm pretty much done. But yeah, it's a bit harder than I expected, but this is one of the reasons I wanted to do surrogacy, because I wanted to experience pregnancy for myself, and yes, it's been an interesting challenge. So until next week, if not before, Thank you very much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up. Bye for now.